May 1st, 2018, 6 o'clock. Call the meeting of the Board of Liquor Commissions. We have three applications. We have the Petrogas Group New England, Inc., DBA Petrogas Group New England, second-class license. Golden Fortune Corp., DBA New Joy Wa Chinese Restaurant, first class. Kendall's Kitchen, DBA Kendall's Kitchen, first class.
I'll move that we approve all three applications.
Seconded.
Any discussion? Any concerns about any of them?
Anybody have any concerns about any of these?
All right, no? Call for vote then, all in favor?
Aye.
Call the meeting of the Rockingham Selectboard, regular meeting to order. Are there any additions to the agenda for routine administrative matters?
Not that I have.
Okay. Approved minutes of April 17th, 2018.
Make the motion, we approve the minutes of April 17th. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Public comment, items not on the agenda. No. Okay, Shane.
Okay, I've arranged for Jones Roofing to view the clock tower roof, and they did go up there to address the leaking that we were having during storms, and all it really needed, it turned out that we needed to tighten the weather vane connections way up there. So they got up there, tightened them all, and we should be good to go. According to them, the materials having been used in the past to secure that are really in pretty good shape. It just got loose just from the wind and what have you, so that's a good thing. This Saturday is Green Up Day, and I know that one of the things we've been talking, Mike and I, about is tires. A lot more tires end up in our
It's a real big problem.
yeah, in our truck than we know that there are on the roadsides. So we're not gonna be collecting tires this year, just to see what it's like, because we ended up with 300 last year, 800.
300 last year, 800 something the year before.
Yeah, so
It's
it's,
a lot of money.
Mike's out and around on these roads, and we know that there are not that many tires on the side of the road. So someone's dumping tires, and we're paying for it. Taxpayers are paying for it, so it's a problem. Other than that, vehicles are gonna be in Saxons River and at the 103 shed.
One at the shed, one at the fire department in Saxons River, and one in Bellows Falls, trash only. We haven't got much, since the scrap metal's taken off there, we don't get much scrap metal anymore.
Yeah. So anyway, that's this Saturday. Also, household hazardous waste collections will be May 12th at the Springfield Transfer Station, and then May 19th in Weathersfield at the transfer station there. Backyard composting workshop, there's one at the library, June 21st. Just want to mention, last week we sent out and advertised the invitation to bid for the additional paving work that was approved at the last meeting. Everett Hammond put together a real nice bid package for us, and so we sent that out for both the chip sealing and the paving. So those are out. They'll be returned. They're due on May 10, and the idea being that at the May 15th meeting, the board would be able to approve them, award the contract. Excuse me. Great news, we received word today that we successfully received the structures grant for Cherry Hill. $175,000.
Really, finally?
Finally got
What
it,
do you
yeah.
like?
We were expecting that we weren't gonna get it.
Yeah.
And almost didn't even put in the application, and then last week, we put one together and submitted it, and we heard this morning, $175,000.
Wow, cool.
Which is just super. Some of the towns just didn't submit or wanted to do it next year. So that's a big boost. And one of the things we may want to think about is, we did some sidewalk paving last year up in front of the new park up on Cherry Hill, is to, when this project gets done, which we can't start anything until July 1. In other words, we haven't even designed it yet. So it needs to get designed, hopefully get it out to bid next January for the following construction season, but may want to think about sidewalk connecting, this work at Cherry Hill up to finish off what we did last year, to complete that whole sidewalk alignment there for the kids. Anyway, really great news. Mike, thanks for all the work you did on that. And total project cost, we estimate at roughly $233,000. That includes, I think we had scheduled roughly in-kind work of $8,000 in there. So that's good news. Vermont Local Roads Training, they're actually having a training at the fire station this Thursday. If anyone wants to learn about road construction and what have you, if anybody's interested, let me know, or I can send out.
Is that the one they're gonna discuss the, I know at VLCT, when we were up there, they mentioned they were supposed to have a meeting down here in Bells Falls about, the, fees and all that stuff.
The what?
Is that the fees for the?
Yeah, some of that
Is
Act
that-
64 permitting.
It's sort of what they
it's-
call
it's
the
like-
round table
yeah,
thing and-
Yeah, it's a road foreman's round table,
Yeah, I'll pass this around if anybody's interested.
Yeah,
There's openings, I mean, if it's not, I guess they're not.
I was thinking I might,
I know Susan,
Yeah,
I signed up.
I signed up for it. I'm
Right.
gonna be running late into it, but,
Yeah. What else? Lastly, on the Public Works Director, we'll be beginning advertising this week and putting the finishing touches on a job description.
how many are signed up for that now? Because if it's three, we shouldn't have three there.
Just Susan.
just-
Oh, okay, I know someone else from the board.
I think you could have three there, Peter, as long as you probably didn't sit together or discuss.
Yeah.
Same as
there
going
to-
to
yeah,
VLCT.
There,
Yeah.
in a training session, there's no issue with it. I mentioned Public Works Director will be beginning advertising that this week. I'm actually doing interviews for the maintenance position this week. And so we're moving forward on those. And that's all I have.
All right, any questions for Shane?
Yeah, 175 is huge.
That is
It really
huge.
is. It's a
We'll
great
take
thing.
it, we went long enough for that.
Finally get that project going. That's
I'm
great.
just surprised.
I was
As anybody.
surprised.
All right, thank you. So, first thing on the agenda is to ratify vote taken 4/17/2018 regarding USDA grant for town hall elevator. Shane and I signed the paperwork on that, so we're good to go.
Madam Chairman, I move that we ratify the vote taken 4/17 in regards to the USDA grant for town hall elevator.
Second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Zoning office, Chuck. Adopt Rockingham, there's no Chuck. Rockingham zoning bylaws. I guess we don't need Chuck for that. He sent in a memo that the select board held two publicly noticed hearings at their regular meetings held on March 20th and April 17th, 2018. After the April 17th, 2018 hearing was closed and upon receiving no comment from the public, the select board moved to adopt the zoning bylaws at their next regular scheduled meeting on May 1st, 2018. As a reminder, Peter Gullett found the document reference errors in section 4700, which have been corrected. Inspired by Peter, we made an additional attempt to find other reference errors, but without success. Digital copy of the Rockingham zoning bylaws is available on the website. I'm not reading that web address. Print copies of the bylaws are available upon request. Suggested motion, I move we adopt the Rockingham zoning bylaws as presented.
Madam Chairwoman, I move the Rockingham Selectboard adopt the Rockingham zoning bylaws as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Recycling center.
Gary was, had a family matter come up, so he could not be here this evening, but Peter put together a draft of a recycling center access policy. Not done yet, but it's pretty darn close, and we just wanted to bring it back to the board to take a look at it. If you wanted, the board could approve it as it is, and you could just log it in that way, but unless you had any other changes, Peter, or you're okay with it?
No, the changes that were made in additions, they're fine.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
met with Gary the other day, and he suggested a couple
Yeah.
of changes that
Yeah.
are shown
Yeah, I saw
here in
those.
color.
The only thing that we had talked about was, second homeowners. They're technically not a resident, but in a way they are. I mean, they may only be here for 2 or 3 months, but then we may be getting into a field we may not want to venture into, such as landlords then can say, well, I'm a resident, I pay taxes. So maybe we ought to just leave it out as the wording is your suggested change, just leave it as residents.
Well, the certification for the facility does say residents
It
of Rockingham and Westminster.
Yeah,
It doesn't say anyone else, but it is a tough
Right.
one. There's people who pay taxes,
yeah, so,
but maybe they could pay $25.
I suppose, more money in our pocket.
The policy decision. Leave it to you guys.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I think we leave it out right now.
Yeah.
And they can just leave it as residents.
So can we move to adopt this now then? Or do you wanna
We
wait?
want it, or?
It can always be changed, and this way, you know, it gives people an idea of, I mean, I have, Peter and I went over a couple of things that I thought maybe could be moved to a different part of it, but in general, it
It's
seems to be
the
okay
way- I
the
thought
way
it
it
looked
is.
good. So I'll
Yes.
move
Say
that.
select board instead of selectmen.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah,
Dead end.
I didn't even see that.
Board of, yeah,
Oh, I see, yep. Yep, we would change
Board.
that.
Select board.
by the Rockingham Select Board. Okay.
Okay, I'll move that we accept the Town of Rockingham Recycling Center access policy with the changes to date.
Accept and approve?
Accept and approve.
Second.
So you move that we accept and approve, okay. I got it.
Shane, what's your thoughts on, Gary mentioned this to me, before we take a vote here, about handing this policy out when they, get their sticker, so everybody knows what's up. Not gonna come as a shock to them, type of thing. I'm sure he's gonna have them down there posted and, you know, at the recycling center,
Oh,
but
that's a great idea.
it may be a handy idea to hand out when they get their sticker, just say, well, here's the policy.
And then they put it in the recycling bin.
Right. Well, that's okay, it works, right?
Well,
I just thought Gary thought about
Yeah,
it.
we might wanna-
I don't know, I says that maybe, you
I
know,
mean, we could probably put the whole thing onto one page. We could squeeze it so it's easier for people to have, you know, they could put it in the dashboard or
yeah,
something.
first, front,
Oh,
and back.
front and back, yeah.
Things are on there.
Right.
That on one page?
All right, are there any other additions or changes or any, nothing, people are okay? Ready for the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you for the hard work on that. So when will, July 1st is the?
Yeah, it says, access will be instituted as, excuse me, as of July 1.
But when will people be able to first start getting their stickers?
I know that Gary had to sit down with Kathleen, and they were working some things out on how best to get it done. I didn't really talk to him about it after that, so.
Okay.
But we're looking to roll it out, and we would need to, they're working on how best to do it, so
Okay.
I can't give you an answer
All
right
right,
now.
so we should have a better sense of that at the next
Yep,
meeting.
yep.
and let
No,
people know.
the other thing too, I thought of, Shane, is that the, application form
Yeah.
is from another town, we might wanna change that.
Oh, that's already in the works.
Okay,
Yeah.
I brought that up, I
Yeah.
assumed it was, but.
Yeah, yeah.
That would
Be
be good
kinda
to
funny
change
to have
that.
them fill out a wrong.
I'm sure it's happened before. All right.
Minor details.
Highway Department, review downtown sidewalk engineering plan. All right. Welcome back.
There's some full-size copies there.
Oh,
It
okay.
might be easier
Yeah.
to look at.
Yeah.
There's 2 pages to that.
Okay.
So if I could orientate you to the drawings, just the text that is a little bit too small to read, that's text, the grading text that the contractor will use to establish the elevations. So what you should notice is just a few colors that jump out at you. The points that are red they're a little marked red. Those are where we're gonna change the elevation of the curb or the sidewalk. And then the curb itself, I've colored in. Green curb, for example, is where there isn't curb, or the curb is destroyed and we need to replace it. So you see along the edge of the road, you'll see green curb,
There's a lot of it.
or you'll see orange curb. And the orange curb is where there already is curb, but we're gonna adjust it, move it up or down. Usually up, but not always. And then you'll see some darker blue areas. Those are the new curb ramps, or adjusted curb ramps. One of the main benefits of doing the sidewalk over now is that we can address several locations where wheelchairs can't get onto that curb. We had several catch basins that we wanted to install. Those are in purple. You'll see there's a couple along the east side of the road, and then there's one in the little park on the west side of the road, right at the corner there. And if you look at page 1, on the left-hand side, that's sort of just a simple color coding to show you what we might talk about. But if you look at some of we talked before about moving the parking area around and perhaps realigning the curb to the east side of that. And so there's a schematic view of what that would look like, just overlaid on the existing parking lot. And then on page 2, I show you that in a little bit more detail. But in the first page, you'll see those things that are in light blue are just concepts for what we could do. And one thing that, if you look at that you'll notice is right now, as you come down the concrete stairway, there's a crosswalk, sort of just painted on the ground there. And if we do change the sidewalk, then what we can do is we can move that crossing to align with where the sidewalk is gonna come. It's basically gonna aim right at it. And so if you choose to realign the sidewalk, it's gonna have some benefits for the pedestrians moving around out there. And also it'll help us with some of the drainage issues. Right now the ground is really flat, and the curb is very close to the pavement when you go up those steps, so that the pavement falls apart pretty quickly in that area. So if we can move that sidewalk, we sort of have a ready place to put it in line, which we can do that anyway. We don't have to change the sidewalk to do that, but it just became apparent that would be a good way to handle the crossings. And then when you get up to the corner there, you'll see the existing crossing. If you 4+50, station 4+50, there's already a crossing there. And when you're walking on the sidewalk, there isn't a curb ramp, so you sort of the sidewalk just dives right away. And so on the same page, there's a blow-up detail of that intersection that just gives you an idea. That's the upper right of page 1. Gives you an idea what the curb ramps would look like, and it ends up working out pretty nicely right there without changing too much. And then I continued the project. Once you go across over in front of the coffee shop there, I show the sidewalk continuing right around like it does right now. Some of the bigger changes, besides the crosswalks and the alternate for having the sidewalk relocated, are addressing some of the cross slopes. So we have several cross slopes out there on the site now that are very steep. As you go up towards Church Street, for example, it's so steep there, if you're in a wheelchair, the front tires want to move out from under 6-7% cross slope all the way up through there. And the retaining wall on the uphill side of that is very soft and almost non-existent underneath it. So we can change the elevation of the sidewalk there pretty readily to change that cross slope. So sometimes we drop it down a little bit against the retaining wall, and at the time when we pour the sidewalk, to be able to fill that little gap in. And then there are other locations where the sidewalk is relatively flat, like in front of Jim's Arcade. And when the sidewalk is flat, you can see it is sort of falling apart because the water doesn't drain off the sidewalk. So in the instance that we need to tip it out a little bit, we tried first lower the curb, but there really isn't anywhere out there where we can lower the curb because it's not particularly high as it stands. So there'll be a few locations where we're gonna pick it up against the buildings. And it just so happens that the couple places we need to do that, the buildings are soft buildings, that is, they're not, they're wood trim. So we'll give the contractor a little detail. And we'll notify the building owner, but we'll give the contractor detail for trimming that siding, or it's really trim, and then putting a piece of flashing on there so that we can bring the sidewalk up just a little bit. We have the little, you'll see little orange crosshatch areas at the ends of each of the sidewalks and at the curb ramps. Those are the detectable warnings so that people know that they're about to cross. People who are visually impaired know they're about to cross the road. There are a couple of them out on your sidewalks, but this will allow us to add them everywhere we need them.
And that's not an issue with snow removal or the snow plowing of sidewalks?
No.
No.
They'll be.
Most are not plastic.
They'll
As
be
long as they're
cast.
not plastic.
Yeah, these are.
Not a composite, they don't last.
These will be iron. Yeah, they'll be plowable.
Yeah.
Looks to me like there's a lot of adjustment needs to be done before the pavement.
There's a lot of adjustment.
Yeah.
Just visually, if you see green
Yeah.
or you see orange,
Yeah, I'm looking
which
at- I'm
is
looking at the road.
a lot of it,
Look at it.
then it'd be a good time to do it.
Yeah.
And the adjustment, some of the numbers that you see, we're not talking about a tremendous distance. At the most, we're talking about raising the sidewalk about 3 inches. That's at the upper end. And the same with the curb. The curb is getting raised in some places as much as 2/10, so just a little over 2 inches. So it seems dramatic in the plan view, but it makes a big difference for the actual cross slopes. Either if we're flat, then we can get that grade, and if we're too steep, we can flatten it out a little bit. I haven't graded in the sidewalk specifically for the alternate around the parking area, because I think that's something that we, after you've had some time to look at the plans and think about it, decide what you want to do there. So we probably, with the final plan, it would be good to pick a sidewalk alignment, either replace where it is behind the parking lot, or realign it where it'd be in front of all the cars. That's really a decision that would be helpful for me if you could come up with any ideas about that.
Yeah, I think we really need to make a decision one way or another, if we wanna realign.
I wouldn't be in favor of changing the sidewalk to go out around. I think cost-wise, and I just don't think people are so used to walking right across the front now that we'd be almost throwing our money away to have it changed and go around that way, because they're not gonna go that way, I don't think. I think it's not, may look nice, but, we've never had a problem, as anybody, as you claim, there's, cars backing out. Never had a problem there, we never had a problem up at the Legion parking lot.
Mhm.
And that's the same grade, I mean, there's the sidewalks right there, the side of the road. I think if you mark it out as to be a sidewalk, I think you're gonna serve the same purpose.
It's not gonna go back though, regardless. The concrete's not gonna go back there no matter what we do. It's gonna be all asphalt, correct?
That
Yeah.
would be,
It's not
that'd
gonna,
be.
we're gonna end up with the same problem we got right now if we don't.
Yeah, yeah.
Down the road in a few short
Yeah,
years.
so that's probably the case. It
So
would be better not to.
We'll put a delineating line like we do at the diner, and that's all it's gonna be, but
Is there anything though that would preclude it being done 5, 10 years from now?
no, not really.
by what, but if we skip it, is it still something that can be done someday?
It is, but all the curb ramps, now's the time to put them in. So even if we decided not to do it now, we'd still wanna put the curb ramps in so that you can have the crossings.
Mhm.
'Cause otherwise you have to adjust that all later. But, so the benefits are to changing that sidewalk. The benefits are that if you choose to mark that for handicap, there's one handicap parking space, but it's not correct in that there isn't an accessible aisle next to it. If we move the sidewalk out front, then, or out front of the cars, then should you decide to repaint that with a handicap spot or 2 van spots, then we can put the ramp out there for everybody to go to. Although I can't predict how often people get hit by cars, it is safer to have the sidewalk not on the traffic side, just like in front of all the buildings here. So it is safer. As if you haven't had a problem, that's really good. But that's one benefit. And then lastly, in terms of the crosswalks, right now people come down those stairs or walking on the other side. The crosswalk just shoots right into the parking area. The aisle doesn't continue across. So you walk across that road and you're still subject to the people backing up or pulling in, whatever.
I think it would make sense to move that crosswalk down,
Yeah.
at least. There's no need for everything to
Yeah,
go
because
right
I'm
to
just
that.
looking at this plan, you've got
I think
three crossings marked out here on each, one on each end of the parking lot, the concept.
Yep.
And then one crossing at the bottom of the stairs, which everybody uses.
Right, so the
So,
idea.
I mean,
the
to
idea
me,
is-
it's like we're adding another crosswalk for, just for fun to paint another crosswalk.
Well,
I
I would
had
eliminate the
laid
one at
it-
the bottom of
right.
the stairs.
Right.
I had laid it out, you'll see when you look at the drawings that I had laid it out as redo the existing one with the parking just as it is now, and we fix the access to that. That's really one option, is to have it right where it is. And then right next to that, I show the option where we delete that one and replace it with 2 separate. So we wouldn't do 3. We'd take that one and get rid of it and replace it with 2.
And this one would stay regardless, going over to the flat iron.
The one the flat iron stays.
It's adjusted slightly.
Yep.
Is it gonna be a lot of money to put the sidewalk in front of the cars? Is it a lot more money?
It's a lot more money, yeah.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, but it's in the budget figures that we talked about before,
Mhm.
that's what we had, that's what we had priced.
So
So
that's
that's it.
included in what we talked about last week?
Yeah,
Last
the
meeting?
dollar figures include, a sidewalk of a certain width and a certain distance. So that was part of the original budget, is to provide that. Sort of with sidewalk construction, it is true that the incidental things add up, but when you're talking about laying sidewalk, the incidentals aren't as expensive as you might think compared to, we're gonna we're gonna redo the curb no matter what on that parking lot, because the curb is in terrible shape, so we're gonna redo the curb. And, but you would be saving that linear distance just in a one-to-one sort of savings by not doing that. Yep.
Now, let me ask you if I may. That sidewalk that you propose to reroute in that parking area, there's quite an embankment down there. What are your provisions, if any,
So,
to make sure?
yeah, what I show is, I show a pedestrian safety rail,
Okay,
which is, it's not the 4-inch on center
Yeah.
sort of kid protection.
right.
It's a pedestrian rail, you'd see posts every 10 feet, and then 2 horizontal bars. So you know, at the 42 inches and
Yeah.
another bar here. So it's not a handrail, it's not a guardrail, it's a pedestrian safety rail. So that you, if you were in a wheelchair,
Yeah.
you couldn't go off.
But what if, you know, this is tending to be a walking community, and this would be an emphasis on that, this type of sidewalk rerouting, in my opinion, which you have a pretty good southerly view from there, but and I like that idea, and because you got a beautiful view down there, be able to take advantage of it all the way down, right down to Masuko's and Athens, but if you have people with young children, I mean, what does that do for them with that type of safety rail?
It means that they can't, you wouldn't be able to fall off. I mean, that's what it's for, it's to provide that buffer so that people can't fall off. There is a fence there too, that would keep you from falling, you know, off the retaining wall. But right directly next to on the sidewalk, we would have that pedestrian safety rail.
Gaetano, you had something?
You also have this pedestrian rail marked in the default sidewalk plan. Is that just for some reason?
That was curbing, wasn't it? And
Dotted blue is default handrail.
Oh, okay.
Pedestrian safety.
No, that's just a relic. In this plan, if you leave the parking lot just how it is,
Curb.
that wouldn't be there. It's just in this plan. So this is your two alternates.
I was just noticing you also had it listed, that's
Yep, yep.
pedestrian rail.
I can't remember what the.
And the granite curb running between, where the alley is, you have
Yep.
green, we
Yep.
put curb there?
We put the curb, I mean, we tend to put the curb everywhere that we're gonna run the sidewalk. And in the instance of something like that, I mean,
But
occasionally.
we have the visually impaired markers, so wouldn't we be going down to cross? You were showing granite curbing right there.
Yep. So the
Curb,
a step
the curb
off?
steps down, so if you, the way those they're called parallel curb ramps, actually the curb dives down and then goes flat across. So the curb is continuous right through that whole section. It just gets ducked down, flush with the pavement on one side and the apron on the
Is that
other.
a regulation? Is that ADA thing?
Well, it has to duck down because you have to drive over it.
The tip down, but you don't put the curving through the entrance.
I would there,
See, that's what they did out at Safe Routes to School, and it's just,
you know, like,
their plow catchers over time, the asphalt's gonna settle,
yeah,
the plow's going in there, it's gonna catch it, it's gonna get busted up. I do the tip downs to the truncated domes, and that's where I would stop.
yeah. We can delete that. It just, I'm not, it's because it's not a road, I wouldn't be that concerned, but I'll go with you. If
But
you think it was
So
an
it would
issue.
be pavement?
Just like it is now. The entranceway. You still have your
No,
two
because,
lanes.
no, they replaced that, that's not pavement there,
It's
that's.
concrete.
It's
Oh, there's
concrete.
concrete through
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, my
It's
sense is that, at
Oh.
most cases, you would want the sidewalk to be continuous.
Yeah, the sidewalk goes right across there.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's new.
That's what we do in
And
most.
we'll clean it up. Right now, there are about 4 concrete pours in that one spot. The
Ah.
kind of
But-
patchy.
Right,
We'll
but the
clean
question
it
is
up.
whether or not the granite curbing would go through as
Right.
well. And
Yep.
If there's
So
a way to avoid
the
that.
granite curb goes through everywhere. If we want to pull, you know, it goes through all those dips, all those ramps. If we want to pull it out there for plowing, then we certainly could.
Okay, so
I
what
think it's a
if,
detail matter that we need to
Yeah.
figure
yeah,
out.
what if, I mean, I think the big decision we need to make is about this rerouting the sidewalk. I like actually.
Do
this
we know
concept
the
of
cost?
rerouting.
Yeah, I don't know,
We
my
discussed
feeling
it.
is, I don't know if we can afford it.
That's,
Yeah,
that's my question.
So, and that's something that's gonna come, if if we delete it, if we do the plan, we can bid the project and you'll have your choice. We're gonna bid the job for
Pieces.
these in different pieces. And for the pieces, just like that spreadsheet I gave you, we're gonna say, just replace the sidewalk and adjust the curb, and then we're gonna add, I don't wanna say premium, but we're gonna add one to replace the sub-base, because we'd really like to do that if you can afford to do it. So at the time that you, if this looks like, if you see some merit to it, the engineering is gonna be, there isn't gonna be that much of a difference to take it from where it is now to finish it. Then you can delete it. Because your fallback plan is to delete it and just paint the asphalt after it's been repaved. So,
But it would make sense to put prepare for the next phase with the sidewalk portion.
Put the blue crosswalk areas.
yeah, if you could.
Well, not so much
entertain-
that, but the corner of where the sidewalk would return. We have to do something there. Wouldn't we have to do
Right.
a,
Well, you'd have to do
or
it any.
it'd be a 6-inch step down anyways, or whatever, how many? From here, if we
Yep,
don't do
yep,
this,
it's a-
if we do this for now, what's the transition gonna be? Curbing?
We would have
Step
to
up.
drop that curb.
Well, you'd
Yeah.
have to do it anyway, because people who park there are gonna need to access that
Right.
sidewalk.
You'd have to be a
From
ramp
the
anyway.
parking lot, they have to access
Yeah.
the sidewalk there too, so
That's
you
right.
would need that in any event.
If
If we
Well, if we
decide.
didn't move we wouldn't move the crosswalk unless we move the sidewalk, right?
No, you
I
really
think we
should
still
move
move the sidewalk
yeah,
crosswalk, I think
crosswalks.
it doesn't
Yeah.
make much
I-
sense to
it-
have it go where,
People are creatures of habit. They walk down the stairs and they're at the crosswalk all day, every day. They go down the stairs, they're gonna stand there looking for a crosswalk. If we
it's
don't
not
put a
the right-
crosswalk there,
You can't do it. By
Yeah,
every
it's
TCD,
unsafe,
you can't.
yeah.
By federal and state, you can't do it. You can't leave that crosswalk, that's not a legal crosswalk.
Crosswalk can't go to an open area.
isn't this a sidewalk?
So, the two new that you.
Now it is.
Yeah,
Wouldn't it be
Oh,
until
go-
we
I,
rerouted it?
I still think we move it, I mean, I think it makes more sense
I
I think it does.
to move it. I mean, you're gonna get,
You're
people are
both
gonna,
right, eh?
people
actually
jaywalk
have it.
anyhow
Yeah,
there.
that's right.
Oh, yeah,
So-
sure, they're
They're
gonna
gonna-
do it, but it's not safe.
No, it is, I think we move it to where it makes more sense to
And
have
like I
it.
say, we continue to leave that sidewalk there and something happens, we could be liable for it
Right.
if we keep putting it back there. Saying it's safe for you to walk across there when it's not. So,
it's a good time just to, on a big picture, I don't know, I didn't review the paving bid and I don't know exactly how it's set up. But when you do that, sort of repaving of areas, that's really when you're supposed to hit all the ADA stuff.
Yeah.
So this parking lot, for example, we show it just as reproducing it as is, but it really should, now that you're redoing it, it should be, have the actual, van accessible parking areas.
You said this was, when you drew this up, it was with the existing or proposed budget that we had there. Yeah, I would encourage my fellow board members to do that. We've had, some of you have been here over the years, recently we've had some bumps in the road with some ADA issues. And I think this would be a good time to nip them in the butt, take care of them and make it happen. And
But
avoid
we can't
anything.
afford to relocate the sidewalk.
No, sidewalk we
It's
can.
budgeted, yeah, we can.
Oh, I mean, the crosswalk.
Yeah, one question I have is, can you do either end and create these crosswalks without having to do the rest?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's, right.
And
Just
there's,
what-
you know, if money, if we get another grant, a pedestrian grant, say, we could do that another day.
Right, but he's right in that there's one little corner where we will sort of have to fix it one way or the other based on the bid.
go to another.
There's one little thing where we come in, right now, if you put the crossing there, you sort of come right into the grassy patch. We'll have to
Okay.
fix that.
We do or do not have money to reroute the sidewalk right now? With the money we have for.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think we have to shave off some
Right.
stuff off this. I don't think we should be going up past, the Hula Cat. I don't think
No,
we can
I
afford
agree.
that now. I think my sense is the key is to get those things, get done right away, those things that
Affect
are
paving.
need to get done before the paving.
The area's in red.
Yeah.
there are other places that we can hold off.
The curb all the way up through Hulacat is fine elevation?
That's what it looks like. Oh, it's the sidewalk.
Yeah.
High fine.
It's pretty close. It's pretty close, but I have not spent any energy on that yet. So I'm not, it looks pretty close, but I wasn't spending my effort on that section that we're probably not gonna do. I will, but just visually and from what I've seen, it looks pretty close as we
Yeah.
speak.
You mentioning raising sidewalks and spots. How, can you kind of give us an idea how you're gonna do that? You're gonna cut out the concrete that's there and then pour new, or are you gonna raise what's there, or?
The concrete that's there comes out. So all, the sidewalks now, the plan is to redo them, so they come out, they'll, in the instance that we don't know how thick they are.
You're more defining the curve is what it is, because I know when I drive up through there, there's spots where it's like this and like this. That's what you're trying to do, is define the curve, correct?
Yeah, we're trying to make the curb, we shoot for 7 inches.
Right.
That's what we really wanna have for the curb. But then the sidewalk, how we would do it is you go up against the building, you pull the old one out, we have our line right where it was. And then most of the time where we need to go up, we're against a wood-sided building. So they would cut the trim and put a piece of stainless flashing right up underneath there. And then so the sidewalk would make up that difference. But we do wanna bring the subgrade up because concrete's expensive, so we don't wanna spend, we don't wanna just dump concrete in the hole. And along old storefronts like this, we're likely to run into all sorts of surprises, but that's nothing new. Then if the sidewalk is dropped, then if you can imagine that the sidewalk would run right to the edge of the building, and then it would be thickened, so there'd be a little haunch that would fill that gap. If the sidewalk is lowered against a structure.
Yeah,
Mostly you can see it, when you walk up to Church Street, look at the retaining wall on your right-hand side, you'll see there's a big gap. It tapers, it looks like this. And we'll run the sidewalk right up to that and then fill that gap in. They'll put a little edge board up and push some concrete under there.
I'm just thinking potential liability down the road if we go up against that, the soft siding on a building like that, and something goes wrong, and they're gonna come back on
You
us
put
and
it-
say, well, a lot of snow and ice gets backed up there, and they're gonna say, well, you guys changed the sidewalk, I didn't have that before, so here we are.
You can answer that, just as well as I can, but in the couple locations where we're talking about doing it, it's because the sidewalk is flat. So right now, we can show the water hitting the sidewalk and running in their building. If we put the sidewalk up,
Okay.
at least we can get that water drain away from the building. But you're right, we're interfacing with private property. And this is my suggestion for how we tend to it, and get the owners and talk to those couple where we're gonna raise it against the building. At least let them know if they have concerns, then we'll drop it right back to where it is, and the water can run in their building.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess sounds like we want to hold off on relocating the sidewalk for now.
I don't think we can afford it, I
We can't
think we
afford it.
need, but I think it's good to have it designed, since
Designed.
we're in the process, design it so that if someday we have additional funding, we just, as a separate project,
We
figure
really
it
have
out.
an estimate of what that would cost to do it, so we can look at it and say,
Yeah.
well, if we cut this off, maybe we can work this in instead. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the overall cost of it and the effect. I mean, what are we gonna get for the bang for the buck, basically? I mean, yeah, it's a safety issue, but I don't think it's that great a safety issue, but,
Yeah. So I think that's a good way to go then. If you like the idea of the 2 crosswalks, then I can sort of go in that direction. We'll do the whole plan, and we'll identify a couple stop points for the bid. We know we wanna do the west side of the street, and then for the east side of the street, we'll go from, up to the parking lot, and we'll do from the parking lot around to where it's asphalt, and then we'll do from asphalt up, and then you can just pick the contractor for what you want them to do.
I think too that if we push the ADA issue a little bit, we may be a little bit in a better position to get grant money to, the elevator thing was a good point. In fact, we didn't know we would get that money until somebody popped up with it and said, hey, you can get half the cost of that, so, you know, I mean, we pushed the ADA, we're trying to, you know, get this back into an ADA, compliance, then
That's neat.
Yeah.
use anything you can to try and
We've
find
been
some
apply-
extra bucks.
We've been
you know.
applying for funding for the stairs and trying to get that in, but
Yeah.
that's not been easy, I'm sorry.
Gaetano?
I think if we, it could be bid in phases, and, you know, the first one being everything that has to be addressed before we can pave. And then if we have a 2 and a 3, but we have to get everything, new curbing, new sidewalks, so we can pave.
Yep.
And if this isn't gonna affect the new paving all that much, then we could do that when funding
Permits.
allows that.
Okay, so we need anything else? We need,
It sounds like what we need to do is, you can cut up the project into biddable parts, much like we did with the other project, where, you know, we can go over that, but, I think we just need to find a way to make it affordable, and if, you know, if we can get a price for that, can't we? You know, to see what it is, and, you know.
Yeah, we'll make bid documents and do it just like we did the paving
Yeah,
with the,
This-
with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
This whole east side the curbing is fine of the village? East.
Some is, some isn't. Flatiron?
And then further north. We don't really have that view, I'm assuming
it's not, it's in.
that curbing is all fine?
Sorry, let me just let me get on that page.
Like
So-
directly
so the
across
cur-
the street,
Popelo's.
all
The
that.
the only curbing, I'm all the way from the cafe, right, from the coffee shop, all the way up to the parking lot, that's all been looked at,
Hmm.
and that shows up here.
And then from the cafe north on the east side, in front of Popolo,
Oh, yeah.
that curbing.
That didn't get done.
We didn't,
We're not looking at it. It's, the sidewalk's in really pretty good shape,
Yeah.
and we
That's-
just,
But curbing for elevation, we're not gonna move it if the sidewalks don't need to be replaced. Kinda seems high enough
Trying to
going
think
up.
when them sidewalks were done, they've been done. They've been done in the last 15 years anyway. That whole side was done.
so we didn't shoot, we don't have any of that
It's in
stuff.
pretty good shape over
it's in
there.
good shape. All right, anything else on this?
and, so we'll finish this up and we'll get it out to bid as soon as we
Yep.
can.
All right.
We
Well,
won't,
it has to, so.
yeah, we won't come
Sooner
back
than
to the
later.
board on it, but we'll report back on the 15th or provide, the bid documents that go out.
Okay, next is to review and accept highway truck purchase proposal.
We keep these?
Yeah, they're just progress prints. These are, Todd, these are just progress prints that they can keep, right?
Yeah, you can have those.
Yeah. And I have them digitally, so if you want, I can just email it to you as well.
I'll pull it up. Should have, down.
What, you crazy? Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, so the truck,
I have a question.
yeah?
Shane, your little thing that you did, you're saying existing fleet vehicle 2017, is that incorrect? It's on the back side of your agenda.
No, we're replacing in
Oh,
2008.
comparing, okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
comparing
I'm sorry.
a 19 with a 2017.
All right. Oh, a couple little.
My question would be, on this, retail order for a motor vehicle, year 2019 Freightliner, and then right down below it says 2018. Is that just a misprint?
I mean, the vehicle's already made, it's made in 2018, I don't know.
It's a 2018. That's probably a misprint.
So the 2019 is a misprint.
I can't be exact, but I would, it's
So
made.
it's a misprint here too, proposed
2018.
vehicle. This is a 2018 now.
Yeah, well, often, I mean, every time I buy a vehicle, if it's, I bought one in 2016, it was called a
That's right.
2017.
Depends the month of the year that it's made.
Right. Depends
Run
what
the
they
VIN
call it.
number, see how it comes back.
That's
as.
right.
It was kind of pointless, but it was on the same invoice, 2 different
Oh.
years.
Right. Well, the VIN, what'd you say about the VIN?
Just put the VIN number through a computer and see what it
Yeah.
comes back as. It'll come back as
We can ask-
Freightliner or whatever
We can
year.
ask Craig and he can tell us.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what it is.
Right.
The time year was made.
Yeah.
But, you know, the cost comparable, between the 2 years is really, you know, very little difference in cost, total of 3% difference over a 2-year period. And then also we have the trade-in is really pretty good at $28,000. We were able to get them up a little bit on that also.
It's the first time we've ever got a trade-in, and it's a good one.
Did we ever find out anything on that repair that Peter
Yeah,
hasn't?
they're gonna take care of half the cost of it.
Okay.
Even though the warranty was out and they can't prove it was their problem or it was ours, but they're gonna
Right.
split the difference with us.
Good job, Peter.
Good catch, Pete.
All right, so there's you're looking for us to approve?
Yeah,
this
just
point.
the authorization to accept the purchase and to authorize the manager to execute any documents necessary for the purchase.
What is it that we're trading in?
2008 Freightliner, 6-wheel dump.
That's the one you just spent about 15 grand on, right? Yeah.
Since it ran out of warranty, yes. Yeah.
It was $7,000 this past year,
Yep,
correct?
we had to put a new emission control exhaust system in, it cost us $7,000. And, I wasn't gonna do it, cause I thought we were gonna trade it before winter, but I needed it for winter, so we had to do it. But that's all stuff, that filter system, we had a spring break, and ultimately broke the axle housing, that was a factory defect, and the injectors were all factory, but it ran out of warranty, so they wouldn't cover it. And if the injectors were $5,000, that axle housing with the springs and U-bolts, that was another $5,000. So, and that's just the big items, there's a lot of little items too.
Yeah, which is why you really have to stick to that.
Stay that,
That plan.
yeah, exactly, that
Yeah.
5-year,
Yeah.
it really,
Right.
I know,
Oh, bites us.
yeah, we're almost there, we're really close to being there. I mean, this truck should've went probably 4 years ago, but
I know Gaetano brought up the last time about the warranty difference between the 5 and 7 year. What was the one on the 2008? Was that a 7-year? Do you remember?
no, I think it was a 5.
Was it 5?
Yeah, it was a standard warranty, yeah. We didn't get the
Okay.
extra at the time. I think these recent purchases, we've gone with the 7-year. And, if any of you follow any of the Vermont local roads, there's been quite an article all, spring about municipal trucks and their municipal life and, you know, they start wearing out after 5 years and they start costing you money.
So again, this is, you know, we think it's a real strong proposal, the vehicle we're used to, we like.
Yeah.
And it's a local contractor, so our recommendation is to go forward with this.
And so we have some money still in our equipment for fund or for
Uh,
this?
This we would be borrowing, and because we had the other purchase of that other truck, we would have to borrow more. And we'll be coming back to the board in a meeting or two, with a proposal from, you know, we'll just go out for that. But what we had normally done is what we normally do for a $165,000 vehicle is 15 the first year, followed by 3 years of 50. The idea would be to keep it at 15 even for these 2 vehicles. And then we would have to adjust upward the subsequent years. Or we could, as an alternative, instead of borrowing 15,000, borrow 20, which we probably can deal with, and then have a lesser adjustment to the out years. But we'll be coming back to the board, so, you know, either the next meeting or the one after on the borrowing, which we do need to do before the end of the year. But
Alright.
again, with the, $26,000 trade-in, that helps out quite a bit.
Mhm.
And then with the other vehicle, with the claim that we got, we'll be in good shape, won't be too bad.
How long's the basic warranty? Is that the same as the engine? Engine is 5 years or
5
something?
years, same thing, yeah.
So they're both the same?
Yep.
Okay. Madam Chairman, I move that we accept the highway proposal, purchase proposal as presented, and have the manager sign the appropriate paperwork.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
While you're here, question on sweeping of sand that are on some of the
Yep.
roads, is that?
Next week.
Next week, okay, good.
You got a new broom, right?
Yep. I was just waiting for the temperature to get above freezing, stay above freezing, and.
But hopefully we're there.
Yeah, well, we got 2 good days of, warm weather, and the phone rang off the hook when you gotta start spring cleaning. Well, we've been doing it since way before the last snowstorm, we just can't get ahead of it right now. We will, we'll get it.
Yeah, okay, and then the other, that Vector truck, what's the status of
Yeah,
that?
that's not,
Yeah, I was looking at the grants today, and, yeah, we gotta jump on that, but one of the issues is that, they haven't even sent us the agreement yet,
well,
you know.
it may not even happen now. They may cut the funding altogether. I just recently heard, but I don't know that for a fact. I don't know that.
Well, they haven't been in contact with us. One of the issues that they were working with is the, Buy America provisions.
Right.
With all of these vehicles have to have a certain proportion that are Buy American, and I think any of them are, and so they're working that through.
I hope that it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, yeah, so we
I'll
should
follow up on that
follow up
tomorrow.
on that.
I've emailed the fellow in charge of the grant program, and he hasn't answered me back, so I don't know where we stand. I think it was might have been a competitor to the salesman that showed us, we demoed the truck, that said that they were possibly doing away with all the funding, but I don't know that. We can't find out.
I'll contact V-Trans tomorrow.
Okay, anything further? Well, we got Mike in there. All right, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, finance office, Ron, how are we doing? Can't believe we're almost at the end of the fiscal year. Crazy.
Getting there. Okay. Pretty much gonna just leave it to questions you might have going through these, but to give you a quick recap on the general fund, expenditures, we're at 88.6% of the budget. Which means we have about 11% left to go for the next 2 months.
What percentage of the year are we?
10 and 8, we're about 81, 82%. Because it's approximately 8.3% each month. Now, bear in mind that some of these expenses were one-time expenses.
Insurances, things like that.
And that
Debt payment.
hikes up that percentage.
Was there anything that we're way over on that we need to be really concerned about?
One of the,
I highlighted some stuff now, I can't
I
find it.
believe we're looking at the exact same report, so page 4
Mhm.
of the general fund. We're looking at, it's a split between various accounts within the finance office. Other professional services is $13,000. That is NIMRIC,
Yeah.
when Cynthia came in.
Cynthia's.
But if you look at the finance director, that's down.
Right.
If we look full-time staff, that's down considerably.
Yeah.
So we're only at 76% of the budget versus around 82% of time. And these numbers are through the, I think, the 26th of April, when I ran the reports.
So on page 4, postage, budgeted 7,200, spent 502.50. We're only at 6.98%. Can you explain that?
Yeah, what happened this year, a lot of the postage was put, if you go 3 lines above to materials and supplies,
Yeah?
a lot of the postage was put into that account. So for, what I'm going to do this month is see how much of postage is in that top account supplies and reclassify so we have a proper comparison.
You ready for questions?
Yeah.
Page 2 of general fund,
Yeah,
miscellaneous fees for solid waste, there's a huge increase in the miscellaneous. Do we know what that is? It went from 17, we had budgeted 17.5, we ended up with 48.4. Is there something
That
screwed
was,
there?
that was the payout we received late last summer from the solid waste district.
Oh, is that for the
it was like 39,000.
compactor?
Well, we decided to get the compactor because of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was they
That's it.
dissolved one of the primary capital fund at the solid waste district
Okay.
and distributed to communities based upon usage. And so we got 43,000, I think.
Actually, we got a little less than 48,000.
48.
Yeah.
The bulk of that money right there, of the 48, is attributable to the Southwest Wyndham Solid Waste Management District.
Does that have to be?
The
district.
Yeah, yeah. Does that have to be a different I mean, does the auditor kind of frown about such a large amount in your miscellaneous account? When would they prefer?
Something like that, we'll normally ask them, where do we put this, and
Okay.
or bounce it off them. But,
There's no other place really.
You'd have to create another account. pretty much.
Exactly.
right.
Yeah.
But it's a one-time thing,
But it
so-
stands out like a sore thumb,
Right.
so,
Yeah.
and we got the backup to it. So if they say, no, we want it in this account, we do an audit entry to
Yeah.
move it. Now,
Page,
the auditors are coming in next week
Right.
Okay.
for 3 days, so these are the type of things we can go over.
Mhm.
Cause it'd be nice to have a clean, work, trial balance for when they come in for real after June 30th. Rather than be subject to all these different audit entries.
Right. Peter?
on page 3, I asked you this last meeting, the miscellaneous income,
You
74.
wanna know what it is?
Yeah, you ever figure that out? I left
course,
you alone
yes.
to let you try and
Of
find
course
it.
I did. Okay, the 74,000, I can give you 67,000.
I'll take
Okay,
it.
the rest is just a lot of minor
Yeah,
stuff.
I'll take this all, that,
Okay, 31,300 was back taxes paid to the town for the Vermed building,
okay, that makes sense.
where they
Yep.
pulled out of
Yeah.
town.
Yep, makes sense.
And we can't post that to taxes or anything, cause it really wasn't,
No,
the warrant
the
wasn't.
agreement
Yeah.
was,
They they broke the agreement.
right, so, okay,
14,000 in that account is a return of interest expense from US Bank on some of our loans or bonds. Actually, they weren't.
that was nice of them.
So,
Mhm.
also in that account, $12,000 worth of timber.
Oh, right.
Okay.
And finally, in there, we had a tax sale to Shaw for just slightly under 10 grand.
Okay.
Okay.
So that makes up a little over
Yeah, that covers it.
67,000.
Yeah, on page 4,
Yep.
bank reconciling items, what is that? Can you
Yeah.
explain that to me? I mean, that.
Yes.
I've never seen this before.
Well, I'll compare it to years ago when I was doing public accounting. We had a bookkeeper that maintained the general ledger. She had an account called NTB. And there was pluses and minuses all during the quarter. And we asked her, what is that? She goes, it's needed to balance. So she was smart enough to put unidentified, variances into one account so we can clear them. The bank reconciling items are adjustments to the bank, between the bank and the books, and which we're having a hard time trying to reconcile. So for purposes of moving forward, we put those items in there, and subsequently, we tried to track down what the true account should be. But we were way behind on our bank recs. I think the last one reconciled was October. And, I'm up working now on April, so, we're caught up. But yeah, we are going to investigate as best as we can. But you'll notice, we did put it under the finance department, so didn't wanna hit anybody else up for that.
Makes sense.
Page 5,
Yep.
other professional services. What is that? There's 39, almost $4,000 there.
Okay, what line are we looking at?
Under professional services, it lists tax sale, town attorney, property appeals, and then there's other
Other
professional services.
professional service?
Don't know
Those
what that
would be,
Would that be Robin?
I don't know if it's Robin or if it's Nimerick.
I know that we hired Robin Sweetapple to help us
Oh.
with the
Oh.
grant for the elevator. She put together the grant application, and as an architect, she is able to help with the design aspects of it.
Is it, but back a page where it doesn't look like we're gonna pay out on the website, sport or training consulting, is it safe to say that that funding, might have been moved, might have been used for that? There's $1,700 there that,
I'll need to, pull up that account and see what's in there.
maybe
I'll
that's,
report back the next, in 2 weeks,
I mean, I think
just
that
so
web-
you'll know what is in that account.
surprising to me that we didn't spend this
Yeah,
dollar on
because-
websites.
I think website support is gov.com.
Office.
Yeah, GovOffice, excuse me, is a company who we work with who hosts our website. I think that's what that is.
Yeah, but we haven't spent any money in it.
Yeah, I know, so what's a good question?
Okay, further down the page, the last line, page 5, 39,694.40, tax sale acquired properties. I get what that is, but
I can give you the breakdown of
no,
what's in
I'm not
there.
worried about that. I know what it is. But the Green Street property that was just sold, that probably's not gonna be posted for another month or so.
It'll be posted this
And
month.
that'll offset some of that, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we,
I just figured that.
where we cut off the month, like 4 or 5 days early on this
Well, we still
report,
have
we
to
just didn't have time to.
I know that there was a provision in there, we have to
Calculate,
wait 30
yeah,
days in case
yeah.
somebody,
Yeah, we got a $1,000 check on that, and then the
Yeah.
balance, 10,000, we have to wait 60 days.
right, yeah, I knew that, okay, so I just checked. Page 9, I'm looking at debt service, because you're at 99.89%, are we done with payments, or we got more coming?
Well, if you look at budget versus actual, we're pretty much done.
That's why I just wondering, I mean,
I think-
98%, pretty close to 100%, I've just,
Excuse me.
Question.
I think there's one more interest payment, May 15th, and, for the year, and most of the payments we have are either May 1st, November 1st, or I think December and June. You know, so, that, you know, we're pretty much done with this.
Highway fund, next one, then I'm done, I think.
You want the highway fund?
Yeah,
It's
page
up.
16, last page.
Okay, I gotta get to that. Okay, highway.
Top of the page, second line, building maintenance repairs, what constitutes that 26,000?
Okay,
I just wonder what we fixed.
A new well.
there's a
new well?
new
Okay.
well for
I
16.
thought that was mentioned last time, I was just.
Yeah, it-
Yeah, okay,
And there's also 4,500 for mechanic bay lights.
yeah, okay.
It
All right, any other questions?
I have a question on Meeting House on page 6, Meeting House materials and supplies.
That's quite
That
a
was
chunk
their-
there.
That's a big, big.
Is that
That
under
was
the
their-
general
I
fund?
think
Yeah,
that was
it's
that
general
book
fund.
that they published, isn't that correct?
Page 6, meeting
A lot of
house.
money for a gas box.
wages,
How much they print in
It
one?
was a book that people purchased.
It's the
Okay,
110-10-37-2020,
Okay, the dollar amount, you're looking at 2,000?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, I will, again, have that answer.
Okay.
Yeah, if I remember right, they publish some of those those books that talk about, and then they sell them.
Yeah, that
And-
wasn't
Yeah.
that much though.
Because materials and supplies would be basically that. It's, has nothing to do usually with repairs or stuff of that nature.
Okay.
I just, yeah, we'll find that out.
Question.
Because, yep, that's on.
I mean, in that same area, Meeting House maintenance and utilities is up, but I suppose, yep, budgeted 2,000, we actually expended to date 3,471.
That there was some maintenance work that was done.
Okay.
Some of it was grant funded, and then we had to kick in a portion,
Okay,
where it was like, we got $500 grants, and we had to do a little bit extra on it. But, we'll find out.
Yep,
did we, yeah, you checked on the recycling one, right?
yep,
That's-
yep,
all
that's
right,
all
so
set.
that's all
We're all
set.
set on there, I think. I'm all set, all right.
I think the only other question I have is with the town clerk's office. And she's got the rabies, which I can understand, but then, oh, I gotta go find it. I'm on page 1, okay?
you're
State-
looking at the revenue.
I am.
One of 32.
No, payables, it says payables. State rabies, $239, I can understand that. But state staying, $1,155?
She's on the balance sheet.
Oh,
Yeah, it's on the balance sheet.
Oh, it's on the balance sheet.
Yeah, page 1, yeah.
I don't understand why it's so much more. It's $1 a dog license to the state for the rabies, and it's either 2 or 3 to the state for the spay-neuter fee. So why is it so out of whack? I guess that's a question for Kathleen.
Either that or is the veterinarian's fee in there for doing that?
No,
I'd have
No?
to look at that account.
okay.
Okay, so,
Because that's definitely out of whack.
okay, so the two accounts,
I'm not finding that. What
yeah, I'm
page?
not finding that either.
On the balance sheet, the very front
Second
sheet
page.
chain.
Yeah,
Look on,
The
down near the
payables.
bottom, payables, liability payables,
Okay,
it's on the
down
balance.
in that area.
rabies,
Yeah.
and then spaying. I see.
Bang, yeah,
Okay.
11.
No, you're saying that's a lot more than we expect.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a nice problem to have, I guess.
Yeah, yes. Gaetano, you had something?
Yes, just back to the well thing again. It's now up to $16,000, you said?
It's 15,853, I believe.
I thought we had approved 10 originally, right? And it came back at 12.
if it's
I don't think there was nothing different than what was reported in the
we're paying
past.
more than we should be.
I don't remember.
I don't know if they had issues.
Well, yeah, but, and that's why it was higher than we anticipated.
Right, but it was only up, it was
I
higher
don't
by a
remember
couple of
I don't
grand.
remember the total, but,
if you'd like, we can pull all
I'll
the.
stop
Yeah.
in and see.
Yeah. Okay, anything else on
Yeah,
highway
if
or
you
any
could just pull,
other
on the
account?
well,
Yeah.
anything related to that, just pull that stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. And there's no plan at this point for a tax sale, that would be something in the fall, most likely?
I've been talking to Ray a bit about that, and one of the thoughts he recommends is we wait until after the May.
Yeah, that's what finance.
You know, things that go delinquent then, and then just jump right into it. So it would be I guess it's a September sale, like it was done 2 years ago. We could go forward now, but it
No,
wouldn't
it
make
doesn't make
sense.
sense before now,
Yeah.
but it just to get an
But he-
idea of.
Right,
we
but
didn't
he's
have
given
one
us,
last year.
he's given us the chart that he needs and the format that he needs to move forward on all that.
All right, anything else on the budget? Okay,
We are starting to do projections now, so to make sure that we're in good shape for the end of the year. So we're, going to start projecting out, payroll and benefits and look at whatever else has not been spent and put a hold on what we need to put a hold on and just make sure we're on budget.
Yeah, the department heads have been active in coming into the office and asking for, year-to-date numbers and, if there's a question on an invoice, so, they're actively looking towards June 30th.
okay. Anything else? All right, moving on to select board items. Kids to Park Day proclamation. Thank you.
Shane,
Thank you
am I
very
all
much.
set?
You're all set?
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, people. Select persons.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is something that came in earlier this week, I think, or late last week.
Yeah, it just seems like a worthy cause that, and I spoke to Ryan Studley, and he's gonna, create some events surrounding this. And it's again, Kids to Parks Day, May 19th.
All right, so I'll read it. Whereas May 19th, 2018 is the 8th Kids to Parks Day organized and launched by the National Park Trust, held annually on the 3rd Saturday of May. And whereas Kids to Parks Day empowers kids and encourages families to get outdoors and visit America's parks, and whereas it is important to introduce a new generation to our nation's parks, and whereas we should encourage children to lead a more active lifestyle to combat the issues of childhood obesity, diabetes, mellitus, hypertension, and hypercholesterolemia. Oh my goodness. And whereas high cholesterol. Whereas Kids to Parks Day is open to all children and adults across the country to encourage a large and diverse group of participants, and whereas Kids to Parks Day will broaden children's appreciation for nature and outdoors, and now therefore the Select Board of the Town of Rockingham do hereby proclaim to participate in Kids to Parks Day. We urge residents of Rockingham to make time May 19th, 2018 to take the children in their lives to a neighborhood, state, or national park. Dated first day of May 2018 by the Rockingham Selectboard.
Madam Chair, move to approve the Kids to Parks Day proclamation and the board sign.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Coming at us.
Okay, manager search committee update. The committee met, we got applications in as of, they were due on the 16th. And we got 27 applicants. We reviewed them last week, and we have 10 that we will start interviewing this week, starting Thursday. And we would like to, ideally, we'll get all of them. I should know the schedule tomorrow, that we can make sure we can get them all in, and have a joint board meeting on May 8th before the trustees meeting, so that we can give the report of the interviews and recommend a short list for the boards and then discuss how the best way is to do the second round of interviews with the two boards. I don't know if 5:30 works for people, if we can do that on the 8th. I don't know if it's gonna take more than a half hour. I'm hoping we can give a quick report and move on to hear, because you have a meeting at 6, right?
Right.
Does that work for people to come at 5? Is 5 too early for people? I mean, to
Not
give
for
us more
me.
time, or?
So
I'm
May
good with
8th is a
5.
Tuesday, right?
Mhm.
It is.
Yep, I
Next
should be
Tuesday.
available. So May 8th at 5 PM.
Does 5 work for people? Maybe we should give ourselves a little extra time, because we'll see if the trustees will have to let us know if that's good enough, enough time for most of them. I think most people can make 5 though, right? Except for, you might be,
Well, should be able to.
you should make it, yeah, I mean, you might run in a few minutes late, but
Right.
we'll manage.
It depends on his schedule.
I don't know when he closes over
Who's this?
the store. Myers at the store.
Yeah, he probably can work around it. He's been good about being able to work around it. Yeah. Okay, so then we'll have a call for joint meeting on May 8th. Anybody have any questions? All right. I think we
You're
had
gonna
some
shoot
good
5?
applicants, so.
You shooting at 5?
5. Yeah, I think that'll be better. 'Cause, okay, review overtime and comp time report. Oh, we got out of that last storm's okay. Any issues? Anyone? Questions? Nope, guess not. All right. Review task list. Let's see. A lot of these, I think, again, we really have no
Where is it?
much. The Vilas Bridge, we got the letter, nothing further has happened on that, right? Has anything been scheduled? We were talking about a joint,
I'm not aware of anything happening at that level. I did hear from somebody that there was some inspection going on this past
There
week.
was for.
I told
Yeah, I
you.
saw them over there
On
on the,
Facebook.
on the Walpole side. They were over there. Somebody, I don't know what they were doing, but.
Well, they had a lot of stuff for a few days. They had the truck that went down, they were all looking at it.
Yeah, I saw that
They just
truck
did that
there.
with a drone, I don't know.
Oh, is that right?
Well, I think they're talking about, surfacing it a little bit just
Yeah, to
to
protect it.
prevent further damage, maybe to allow pedestrians, I don't know. But,
I don't know if it was that, but.
But, there was, I've been trying to contact, I think you have as well, there's the agency down in Washington DC.
Right. Historical preservation.
Yeah, and I did finally get, they had sent a letter to Federal Highways a couple of years ago and never got a response. I've been pushing for them to try to get a response, and I just got a response back from them saying, basically, you're on your own. We're not gonna do any further. I'll share that with you, because I know you've been involved
Yeah.
somewhat.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know why, but there's been a change in their approach. They were, advocates for historic preservation, and it seems like that's not the case anymore. So they told us to pound sand, basically.
Depot Street Bridge. We had that meeting, I don't know if we updated the board on that meeting we had.
I thought we did, but there was a meeting with V-Trans and a bunch of folks from V-Trans to begin the scoping process. We did talk about different alternatives, one of which was to reroute the bridge, actually to have one parallel to the existing rail trestle bridge, with the possibility of keeping the existing bridge as a pedestrian bridge. There are a lot of different alternatives that they're looking into. I had offered to make contact with Great River Hydro on behalf of the state and to find out who would be the contact for them. So I, in fact, 2 days ago, sent them a list of all the different contacts at Great River Hydro. One of the thoughts was whether or not the canal would be able to run dry for a little while in order for us to get the project done quicker. I mean, every drop of water is worth something. So that's, the idea would be if they needed to do any maintenance work, it would be a good time for both parties to do that. So I don't think that's necessarily realistic, but it's,
Worth finding out.
you never know. If you don't ask, you never get. So that's still working, that project is.
Okay. The theater committee, formed, they've been meeting, every couple weeks. At this point, the committee is just, gathering information. They're not, at this point, making any recommendations, but gathering information about how the theater operates and, putting out letters to people who've rented the theater before, to get their feedback of how that rental process went, were they happy, where things could be changed, and so forth. Pretty much, that's,
Yeah, this is we just put a survey out.
yeah, that's right.
Went to, BIFTA and GFRCC.
That's right.
Which they'll distribute, they said to their members, see about getting business feedback from the greater area.
Right.
Also, we're looking at getting some additional assistance from the high school,
Mhm.
about getting the survey stuff done outside,
Yeah.
in front. This is a great week to do it with vendors, it's quite a lot of
Right.
people coming to see
Yeah,
that.
to see where people are coming
See where
from.
people coming from, still
Yeah.
trying to get that information as easily as possible, yeah.
And people come from quite places I wouldn't expect.
Where can you go see the Avengers for
Yeah.
$5?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I think that's
Where can you see any movie for
Pretty
$5?
much
Any
anything.
movie for $5.
quality of life issues that's on here. We've never really even discussed what that means. At some point, we won't do it right now, but at some point, we probably need to have a discussion about what that means. But, Bridge Street Bridge, nothing new major. on that,
There was a
anything?
committee, transportation committee meeting at Wyndham Regional. Chuck went on our behalf, and he's still trying to push that along. But it's we're going to keep it, keep it in their on their lists as best we can.
Deb,
but
have you gotten
he's-
anything from Wyndham Regional yet?
I got the paperwork to return to them, but I was so
Okay.
sick at their last meeting, I couldn't go.
Okay, no, but I was just gonna say, cause I know there's always a delay when you appoint a new person to
We
get
catch
them
up,
on
yeah.
to the committees, but.
Deb, did you go to that meeting?
No,
Yeah.
I was gonna go with Chuck, but I was too sick, I was afraid I'd just make
Okay.
everybody else sick too.
Animal control, I did get the paperwork from Ann that she had been working on before about the new animal control ordinance. I know that there was a dog picked up on Darby Hill that, over the weekend, that was hit by, no, that was the dog was picked up by Darby Hill, and then there was another dog hit in Saxon River, that there was some confusion about where those dogs should go. I think the one
Yeah, the
went
weekend,
to Springfield,
yeah.
or I don't know what the situation was, but because we don't really have it, we've got it. So I will, I guess, start looking at that. We've gotta finalize our animal ordinance and figure out what the proper procedure is when those kind of horrible things happen.
Right.
All right. Revolving loan fund, collection billing by April 1st, now July 1st, on loans going forward.
We're
You had a
meeting-
committee?
We're meeting Thursday to
Okay.
discuss that and a couple other things, so it's probably in the committee, we can probably give you something
Okay.
to where that's going.
Town hall roof, we just discussed that, and we're,
Yeah, we're good on that.
Good on that?
Just, until we get a breezy, a windstorm with rain, we'll see how it goes. But they were very confident that the work that they did was stabilizing.
and the traffic committee, we
Who was
finalized
appointed
it?
from the village to replace
Yeah, I
Stephanie?
don't know.
You?
Nobody yet.
Yeah.
They're gonna wait till after the election.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's right.
That makes
But-
No, okay, so I was thinking about getting a meeting going on that before we,
Yeah,
that
I
goes
mean,
on
might as
the
well.
bus.
Actually,
Yeah.
Kelly Tully came in today to
Yeah,
ask
people have been asking as
about
well.
it, and I told her
Because
that I thought
this-
you were probably waiting until after the trustees had appointed somebody else.
The sign that's up at the Arch Bridge, it says truck traffic to Route 5 north. Since South's not mentioned on that, the only reason I asked the other day, 2 trail trucks peeled off and went right through the square. So if you're trying to stop traffic from going there, you might wanna look
Well,
at that sign.
a new sign?
That one that's on right there by the canal, yeah.
take
I know
a look.
BDR's been going around Cumbies and stuff, they've been doing that route, some of them come through the square, but that was a Schneider truck came across the bridge and promptly went left, right down through.
Is it
So
a new sign there that,
That's
right
what you
next to
guys put
Sonora?
up, it's one of those traffic signs, Route 5, truck route, Route 5.
or it shouldn't say north, it should just say Route 5?
I think it just says north, but I don't know, maybe it doesn't,
I'll
I
drive-
didn't get a good look on it, but
I'll drive by on the way home.
just,
So then the committee will wait till after,
yeah, probably.
after the election, which is.
Village meeting, find out who we got.
14th,
and we
right?
can Go
Well,
ahead with it.
15th,
Yeah, the 15th, so that would mean our next meeting wouldn't be until the following Tuesday.
following Tuesday,
Okay.
So
All
that
right.
would be the
22nd.
22nd, yeah.
Okay. On to various tasks. Road inventory, we're done with that, though. What about the gravel roads? You know, the schedule for that?
I don't know right now.
We got not the sidewalk condition map, where that would be waiting, I guess, till highway crew have time? Isn't that highway crew who normally, I think it was Pepper who actually did it.
The sidewalk condition map?
Yeah, wasn't that Pepper too? Someone from the town crew used to go and do it, but I don't know who.
I thought it was
Used to be Everett.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the last one we have.
Yeah. So, that's something that's, again, I suppose maybe wait until we get a public works director at that point, but.
Right.
Culvert maintenance, ongoing, I guess, nothing new there. Vector truck, we just got the update on that. Higher property maintenance, we're in the works, and public works, we're in the works for that. Island development, continue working with BFADC on redevelopment of Robinson Paper Mill.
The other week, bunch of us, Gary Fox and some BDCC members and the planning commission, or DRB board, excuse me, had an interesting fun tour through that building.
It's a
It
nice.
sort of revealed
fun.
them a lot of stories that went on in that building when I used to work down there. It's moving along, the project's coming along, but they needed to get that through for the DRB, so just wait till they have a hearing on it and go from there.
Has that been scheduled there?
I don't know.
Right, got a question about the
Mhm.
Vector trip. How much did we, approve for that thing? Should it not work out, 75?
I think so.
Yeah, total price was $325, if
It
I'm
was
not mistaken.
75.
I think it was $325.
No, I know, but the
We-
grant, there's a
Okay.
grant, the, what we had to put in, I think, was 75. Wasn't that
That
right?
should be
The
right.
grant was 225.
Right.
I think. So, yeah, if we don't get that grant,
Don't get the truck,
we
right?
don't get the truck. We have that 75 in this coming year's
Mhm.
budget, correct?
And we could borrow less money. No, we have to do it this year.
Yeah. Okay, traffic committee, got that. Again, this townwide policing, I haven't heard an update at all, I don't know if anyone else, about where that went in the legislation.
arrival. I
Got it,
think.
yeah.
Dead on arrival, okay, good, I don't have to worry
Can
about
we
that.
take it off there or not?
Until next year, probably, when they bring it around again.
Yeah, well, I mean, at some point, we might wanna have a discussion, maybe at the joint board, again. I thought it was interesting, I don't know if anyone else looked at the VPR, report on traffic tickets in Vermont towns.
There's a
And-
write-up
oh, yeah.
about that.
And some of them were, some of these towns, there's 3 towns where 25% of the, they fund
Their income.
Their income through that. But Rockingham and Bellas Falls was like $1,000
Very low.
and, 1,500 or 1,700, I forget the numbers, but very, very low. Meaning, we're not ticketing in this town, I guess.
Or they're obeying the speed limits.
No, it's not happening.
Yeah, that's,
Believe
yeah,
me.
that's likely.
I could make a fortune just on my road alone in the morning, if I was.
Make
Well,
a
I just-
fortune right out here.
Well, I know the speeding
Oh,
ticket
yeah,
payments
definitely.
came through the other day, it was this big. I mean, we had quite a few payments just the other day in finance.
But anyway, I mean, we've never had this, it's a constant complaint about people not just speeding, but texting now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Big
it's
time.
incredible, and maybe at some point when we have a joint board meeting, we need to
Yeah.
talk about, you know,
You see them every day, you stand on the corner and you can watch them go by with that thing right there.
Yeah,
They're right at it.
yeah.
And they probably got a hook up Bluetooth in their car, and they just haven't figured out how to put it on
Yeah.
there.
What were the big three towns, do you know? Was Mount Holly?
No, it was, 2 on 100, it was, I can't remember. But anyways, you can go to VPR and you can look.
Wilmingham or
There was an
White-
article about Mount Holly somewhere though.
Wilmington
I
or
think that was
White-
Well, I've got
No,
it
it wasn't those, they were up north, I mean, they were along Route 100,
Okay.
up
Up
to
north,
Ridgewater,
up.
but somewhere like that,
Okay.
and,
Yeah, I read the
Yeah.
article, I can't remember the name of which
Yeah.
towns.
Well,
So,
Proctor.
a lot of money.
a lot of them, you know, people were going to.
Proctorsville.
No,
No? There's
not
bad
even
spots.
Chester, where you're constantly seeing
I know,
police.
I
I've gotten a ticket
Yeah,
there.
they were like 50.
They stop anybody that gives them a dirty
Oh.
look, they'll stop you
Yeah.
right there.
So anyway, maybe, well, we're not there yet, so anyhow. Signage, that's animal control, okay.
Interesting.
Dis- Tax sale, town-owned property, disposal of property, yeah, we've had that discussion tonight. 10 and a half church, what's happening with that?
I thought I reported on that. We are eligible for a $108,000 grant, loan, excuse me. Interest-free loan with, it's no longer gonna be the, Southwest, Windsor Regional Commission. It's a regional commission up north. But again, interest-free up to 10 years, which is, you know, and there's a little bit of paperwork we need to do, but we still have a lot of work to do on this. We have to, you know, we have to go out to bid. In order to do that, we have to get a consultant who can bring us through that, you know, the remediation process. So Chuck was on vacation last week, so he's back now, and he'll be working on that project.
Yeah, I mean, school vacation's coming up shortly,
Oh, yeah?
and we really need to get it done throughout the school vacation break, so,
Oh, yeah.
all right.
I'd like to try to get it done this fiscal year if possible.
Blighted buildings, consider ordinance, Peter, to meet with
Yep,
Springfield?
I'm gonna start working on that this week. I have downloaded 2 of them, one from Rutland, one from Springfield. I just finished researching around with that one, cause they quote state statute in there, what they have authority to pursue, so now that I've got that under the belt, I'll start coming up with a draft one and go from there. I've been, just got a couple of questions for Springfield or Rutland, to find out how they handle bankruptcies as far as the vacant building, so just see what they run into, curiosity's sake.
FYI, the trustees at their last meeting voted to proceed with a dangerous building declaration on the old Chemco building. So they're moving, so the fire chief's working on that now, and they'll be discussing it at their next meeting.
But isn't that just to board it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's to secure it. I mean, it's, tearing that thing down would be a lot of work, but the key is to secure the building.
Alright.
It's an attractive nuisance.
All right, maximize town resources for town-owned buildings, meeting house, opera house, waypoint center, rec center, and so forth. At one point, we talked about having a meeting with the meeting house committee, or the meeting house, Friends of the Meeting House. Just to get it, I mean, when Doreen raised that issue of, you know, money. And, they do raise money, and we don't really have a sense of what happens with any of that, so, at one of the upcoming, well, actually, didn't we also say we were gonna reschedule the meeting house meeting for
Two.
June?
June.
Yeah.
When it's really hot.
Yeah.
But before it's really hot.
Well, yeah, it should be before.
You get maximum sunlight, so,
I haven't heard.
second meeting in June.
Yeah,
We
so
don't have a
we-
second meeting in June.
What's that?
Sometimes you don't
We
have a
don't
second
have a
meeting
second
in
meeting in
June,
June.
because you go June, July, August with only one meeting a month.
Well, if there's a second meeting in June, that would be the lightest, you know, close to the lightest days of the year. so.
Or, I mean, it doesn't have to be the lightest day in the year, it's just
I
that,
thought
in September,
Said
we're,
the first meeting in June.
first meeting in June,
Yeah.
I think we said, which is coming up.
Yeah?
Yep.
So, yeah, then they should make sure that someone is there who can give us a good report from the,
So should you invite them?
yes.
As a member of the Meeting House Association, we typically only have 2 meetings a year.
Mhm.
One of them is a director's meeting, and the other one is the annual meeting. That one's usually done when it's really hot, before Old Home Day. And so, as far as funding goes, we only find out once a year how much money has been raised and how it's been done, or new ways to raise money, so it would be behoove you and the association itself to get, to do more DPW to raise funds. That would help.
Is John Luckman still the?
Yes, John Litton.
And then I had a conversation with Doreen Studley about her wish to have the Waypoint Committee meet. And I think I ended up volunteering myself for
I
that
think
because
you
nobody
did.
else wanted to. And I'm gonna be seeing her tomorrow morning again, cause she also raised the issue of, how difficult it is to get volunteers, and she would like, it would be great if it could be done like the meeting house is with a stipend for docents, but I don't know what's in the budget, if there's even anything in the budget,
Nothing.
for such a thing. But something maybe for the future we have to think about when we
One
do the
thing,
next
when you're
budget.
talking to Doreen, you might wanna mention, Ellen caught it the other day when she was down there with the tree people. They don't have any hours of operations or something, nobody knows when they're open or closed or anything down there. They used to
On
have
the
to
door?
post stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's gonna have to contact them to have at least the outside bathrooms done when the kids come down for free from Springfield Tech to trim those trees in the park down there.
Okay. I'll mention that. Next, board to be notified of all budget, this is the budget, board to be notified of all change orders prior to implementation, I think that's been happening pretty regularly, we haven't had many.
Haven't had one since we
Yeah.
implemented that.
And Bottas Bridge on there again, duplicates.
But they're working on it.
They're working
Maybe
on
we
it.
see something.
Okay, agenda items for the next meeting, May 15th. Anything?
Paving bids,
Yeah,
and also we'll report.
sidewalk, will we have a
We'll
sidewalk?
report on the sidewalk, we won't,
Oh.
yeah, we haven't gone out to bid yet.
Which, yeah, I mean, I'm getting nervous about getting those done before paving. Anything else for the May 15th?
Well, might we have some bid packets to approve that day, you think? Like three
Paving,
different,
but-
for
For
sidewalks?
I think we were gonna try to get that done, get it out before,
Okay.
before the meeting.
What, the sidewalk?
Sidewalk bids, we'd like to get them out next week. I thought we weren't gonna wait for another board
Yeah,
meeting to put them
right.
out.
Right, yeah, no, so, but I mean, can make a decision on the sidewalk bids on that May 15th as well.
No, I don't, it won't have enough turnaround, I don't
Okay.
think. If we put it, we're not gonna get it out to bid tomorrow, it'll probably, I would hope for early next week. Unless he can patch something together by Friday,
So, I mean, we may have to have a special meeting just for the bids.
once they come in, potentially.
Okay, otherwise, May 29th might be too late. Joint board.
We'll see, we'll do the best we can.
Anything else for the May 15th? Can't think of anything off the top of my head on. Joint board meeting, May 29th. At that point, we should have more information about the manager search. Hopefully we'll have some good news by May 29th. Anything? Okay, we'll let Carrie know if anything comes up. Review and approve orders, bills, and warrants.
Move to approve with some questions. One, actually.
All right, what's that?
Second.
On the 419 one, page 1, top of the page.
Mhm.
The manager's laptop and the COG laptop within clients. We approved that at the previous board meeting, and it was found that they paid it again. When I signed the warrants last Monday, when you asked me to go in because you weren't gonna be here,
Yeah.
I caught it, Brenda pulled the invoice and said, yep, I guess we did pay it twice, but the check never went out, so we saved the money.
Mm.
And
Um,
it's printed again on page 2. Manager's laptop, 60249. Is that?
Same
Yes, it
thing.
is.
That's why I said they got paid
So-
twice.
It's a
But it
different
did get
budget line,
pulled?
that's the allocation to the village there.
Oh,
It's a
Oh.
515 account.
I wondered why it was so much
Yeah, it's
cheaper
5
than.
and 5, so they, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's
But-
allocated between
But
town and
that,
village.
the $3,800, the $2,800 got pulled.
Good.
Shane, I'll ask you, on page, the second one, 42518, page 1, almost down the bottom of the thing. Greater Rock Fitness, we pay membership for guys to go to that?
Yeah, it's part of the,
We don't, I
agreement,
can
right?
answer it.
I don't know, I
Carrie?
haven't been off the board, I've been off the
Union.
board for years, so I'm just trying
No,
to
it's
figure out what
not.
that's about.
What's at the end?
It's a payroll deduction thing. They pay it, they
Oh,
bill
okay.
us, but it comes out of their paycheck.
Yeah, I was
They
gonna
get
say,
a
it doesn't say
reduced
that,
rate.
that's why I just happened to see it and
We
saw
don't
the name
actually
of it.
pay it.
Oh.
Pay it.
Oh, so that's not the union ones?
No.
Which we do as part of the union contract for fire, I think.
But they get a
Will.
discount, right, by
They
doing
get a
it?
discount for doing it through payroll deduction.
Oh.
So, but no, it's not paid for by the town at all.
No, it just stuck out there. You flip the page
Sure.
over on page 2, there's a Sandry tax credit refund for $13.59. Anybody know why we gave them a refund? Did the prices get lowered or something? I'm assuming it's the gas station on the south end of town that it's closed up now.
I don't know the answer to that.
I saw that too. and I
Yeah,
wondered.
about 2/3 of the way down the page,
Yep.
it'll say Sandry Inc.
Tax credit.
Tax credit refund.
Overpayment? I don't know.
I haven't heard that the appraisal got changed, but maybe it did. I don't know why else we'd begin to credit a refund on that.
All right, anything else on those?
Yeah, page 3, and then I'll stop. I think I'm done. There's 3 bills for discount oil. I thought we had a contract with H&B that we were buying it at a contracted price from H&B. I wondered why we bought 3. There's garage heat, Uno 3, all 3 of them.
Yep.
What's that?
Curious.
No, discount oil
No,
was our,
discount oil is who we have a
who we
contract
have our
with.
contract with.
Yeah, they were the low bid this last
I
year.
thought HP was.
No,
No.
discount oil was.
That was a couple of years ago.
Cause I remember it was the first time we used discount oil, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Okay, anything else in there? All right, so we have a
And we'll be going out
motion
to
and a
bid,
second?
we'll be going out to bid again soon
Yeah.
for oil.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any other business, Doreen?
No?
Peter?
Nope.
Nothing? Joe Tom?
No.
Nothing from the other?
Nope.
No executive session, so move to adjourn.